A recent relationship breakup is believed to be behind the murder of a young woman inside prestigious St Andrew's Cathedral School in the city last night. Lilie James was just 21, the school's water polo coach. Tonight, her 24-year-old ex-boyfriend is missing, with police continuing to search for him.
When a 000 call came in from an anonymous person reporting a body inside the bathroom of a Sydney private school, horror rippled throughout the country. Police arrived at St Andrew's Cathedral School just after midnight on the 25th of October 2023 and were confronted with a gruesome scene. A young woman in her early 20s was discovered dead with extensive head injuries. Detectives concluded that she had been attacked by a hammer and murdered just hours earlier. Police Superintendent Martin Fileman said,
"Police located the body of a female in her early 20s in the gym area of the school, and from her injuries it was apparent that she was a victim of a homicide. We just ask everybody to be mindful of the fact that we've got numerous students turning up to St Andrew's Cathedral today. We believe that the female is an employer of the school. We're currently looking for a male person, also in his early 20s, who we believe can assist us with this investigation. We also believe he is also employed by the school."
Who had made this chilling call? And had this person been responsible for murdering this young woman? This is the heartbreaking murder of Lilie James. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. I've always been interested in the idea of discovering more about my family history. MyHeritage helps you discover and trace your family's background by building your extended family tree with a click of a button. And I honestly went down a rabbit hole. The Smart Match feature does most of the work for you by finding new relatives, identifying and matching your family members. And the Instant Discoveries feature can add entire branches to your family tree. Once I manually added my parents and grandparents, I quickly went back generations, all the way back to the 1500s. It was so cool to see that some of my direct ancestors, up to 7 generations back, were from the Montgolfier family. It turns out that the Montgolfier brothers were aviation pioneers. They were balloonists who invented the Montgolfier-style hot air balloon. This launched the first confirmed piloted ascent by humans in 1783. And for those of you who don't know, Montgolfier is the French word for hot air balloon. My favourite feature is how MyHeritage makes uploading special and older photos of loved ones incredibly easy. MyHeritage can bring your family members to life with special technology that lets you colorize photos and even animate them. With over 19 billion historical documents on MyHeritage, I found so many interesting records related to my family members. So now it's your turn. Scan the QR code on screen or click the link in description below to start building your family tree now. Sign up for your very own 14-day free trial and enjoy all the amazing features MyHeritage has to offer. Police swiftly identified the body of the young woman as that of 21-year-old Lilie James. Lilie, a water polo coach at St Andrew's Cathedral School, balanced her work at the school with her studies in a sports business degree at university. As investigators dug deeper into Lilie's background and potential motives for harm, they stumbled upon her romantic involvement with one of her colleagues, Paul Thijssen. Paul, a 24-year-old Dutch national, was a hockey coach at the same school. Having relocated from the Netherlands to Australia in 2015, Paul studied at St Andrews until graduating in 2017. He then transitioned into coaching cricket and hockey at the school, where he crossed paths with Lilie James. Their professional relationship evolved into a romantic one, but this did not last long. Students and peers at the school would say that Paul was creepy, flirtatious, and often boasted about their relationship. Lilie had reportedly decided to call off their relationship after just 5 weeks of them dating, just a few days before her tragic murder. With this critical piece of information, Paul immediately emerged as the prime suspect. However, a significant hurdle presented itself. Paul's whereabouts remained unknown. Investigators confirmed that the 000 call had indeed originated from Paul, and they traced it to the Gap at Vaucluse, a clifftop location. However, upon arrival, authorities found no sign of him. Paul had disappeared after making the call from Vaucluse, prompting law enforcement to launch a massive manhunt concentrated on the cliffside area. Later that day, during the ongoing search, authorities made a significant discovery. They found items deemed associated with the homicide, presumably the murder weapon, in a bin. They also found a silver Lexus, a backpack, and an abandoned pair of AirPods.
Detectives had traced Tyson to here, and they were searching high and low, in the air, in the water, on ground. This car towed, this bin emptied, this building site scoured. Detectives, lots of them, talking to anyone who'd seen anything. A pair of Apple AirPods and it's believed a hammer was seized. The only thing missing, Tyson himself.
Police said they were searching for a male staff member from the school who they believed could assist with inquiries. They said, "We don't want to make any assumptions of the fact that that person may have taken his own life, but that's just another line of inquiry we're looking at the moment." A day-long search in the area failed to yield results, but on the Friday morning of the 27th of October, a group of tradesmen working nearby alerted police to a body they could see located on the rocks beneath Diamond Bay Reserve at Vaucluse. Police initiated an operation to get to the body at 7:40 a.m, but retrieval was difficult. The body's location, as well as the wet and windy weather in the area, led to complications.
The conditions here at Vaucluse are horrendous this morning. The seas are high and the winds are blustery. It's making the retrieval of this body incredibly hard for emergency services. It was around 7:30 this morning. A group of tradies working on the cliff's edge spotted something in the water. They called police and that prompted a massive response. We saw jet skis, police rescue, as well as the Westpac rescue helicopter trying to reach this body and retrieve it. And while at the moment this body hasn't been identified, it is believed to be that of 24-year-old Paul Tyson.
Surf lifesavers on jet skis scoured the nearby shoreline, while police rescue personnel abseiled down the sheer cliffs to access the rocks below. The Rescue and Bomb Disposal Unit, Marine Unit, and Westpac Rescue Helicopter all contributed to the operation, and finally, the body was retrieved at the reserve around 12:15 p.m. The body was confirmed to be that of Paul Tyson. It seemed he had taken the easy way out. As new details and evidence emerged, it became apparent that Paul had meticulously planned Lilie's murder, leading police to believe it was premeditated and calculated rather than an impulsive act. On the morning of the 24th of October, 2023, Paul rented a silver Lexus and drove it to work at the school. Paul appeared upbeat on the day and was eagerly anticipating coaching hockey at St. Vincent's College, the other school where he worked, the following day. At St. Andrew's Cathedral School, where Lilie coached water polo, Paul was asked to organise the desks in the gym where some of the students would be sitting their exams. Using a hammer and other tools from the school storeroom, Paul set up the desks in the gym. At the end of the day, around 6 p.m, Paul and Lilie met at the school gym to hand over some sporting equipment, and a fight quickly broke out between them. CCTV footage from the school captured Paul following Lilie into the gym bathroom around 7 p.m, but then leaving alone approximately an hour later. Inside the bathroom, Paul allegedly used the hammer he had just been using on the desks to brutally kill her. Approximately 2 hours after the reported murder, security cameras in Vaucluse, located 12 kilometers away, captured Paul. Eerily, this was the same location Lilie and Paul had visited together weeks prior while meeting a friend. The security footage depicted Paul arriving at Diamond Bay Reserve in the eastern suburb. He arrived in his rented silver Lexus at 8:47 p.m, exiting the vehicle and walking across the road to presumably dispose of the murder weapon in a bin at 9:04 p.m. He then spent 2 hours in his car before reporting the crime to 000 just before midnight, providing information on where to find Lilie's body. During this time, he also cruelly texted Lilie's father, impersonating her, and requested him to pick her up from the school. The 000 call was traced to the Gap in Sydney's eastern suburbs, where authorities discovered the car and an abandoned backpack containing some of Paul's belongings. However, Paul himself could not be found, prompting an extensive search. Several days later, Paul's body was recovered from the rocks at the base of a cliff at Diamond Bay Reserve, approximately 3 kilometers down the road. Police later uncovered CCTV footage capturing Paul on the morning of the murder, purchasing a hammer at a hardware store close to his Kensington home. Authorities believe Paul armed himself with 2 hammers before entering the bathroom with Lilie, one of which had originated from a school storeroom. However, it's understood that the purchased hammer is not the one he used to kill Lilie. It was assumed that Paul knew he likely needed a getaway car following the attack, so had planned ahead and rented the Lexus. Criminal psychologist Tim Watson-Monroe said that Paul knew exactly what he was doing that night. He said that Paul had to build up to killing Lilie in the days after she reportedly ended their 5-week-long relationship. He said that the lengths Paul went to before, during and after the murder made him seem like a psychopath. He said, "The underlying thing is that the men who do this are very insecure and feel the need to control." Following Lilie's murder, a service was held at her former high school, and 500 staff, students and alumni attended, all dressed in bright clothes. Her loved ones carried in dozens of lilies to honour Lilie on a day that was all about her, according to her father Jamie James. Jamie also shared a brief statement after the funeral, which he described as a celebration of her life. He said, "This day is all about her. She was an independent, vibrant young woman who was always on the go and lived each day to the fullest. On top of working and studying, Lilie loved coaching and playing water polo. She loved to dance. Even with her busy schedule, she always still made time to support her brother Max, her friends and her family. We cannot thank the community enough for their thoughts, prayers, generosity, and messages through this difficult time. From the bottom of our hearts, we thank you for the many great memories we all share with Lilie. Lilie James, we are so proud of you and thank you for sharing a wonderful and jam-packed 21.5 years together. We are devastated and heartbroken." Her coffin was led out of the school gates and it was covered with countless bright flowers, a tribute to Lilie, who has been described repeatedly as vibrant. Her friends and family remembered her as a kind friend and an avid sportswoman and spoke about her fondly. Lilie's family friend Daniel, who launched a GoFundMe page in her honour, said that Paul had stolen everything from them. He said, "She broke it off by the sounds of things, so he stole her from us. He took away everything, ripped us to pieces. We will be grieving this loss forever." Lilie's grandmother said, "I remember the day she was born, bright as a button coming out, and never stopped since then. Just kept learning and having fun. She had a lot of fun, Lilie, and she was so kind."
Special people come into the world and they seem to go out of the world way too soon. And that's how I see Lilie. She was something special. Her kindness, her loyalty to people, and just the gentlest person. Very gentle. But murder and the way he murdered her is horrific.
In the days after the tragic murder, the school held a special assembly and the school's head, Julie McGonigal, addressed the 800 students saying, "If I could, I would brief you one at a time. I would say your name and sit with you in the ashes of what has happened, but I know I can't right now. So, here we are." Julie McGonigal wrote in a note, "The horrors of evil do not and will not define our community. That is my oath." Based on a representative of NSW Police's extensive investigation, he assured us that this was a completely unforeseeable event. There are no words for what has occurred. It is like entering a foreign land which possesses no words. Lilie's engagement across the student body was wide-ranging and she was adored by all. Her closest colleagues lament Lilie's bright, bubbly personality will be dearly missed. She was a vibrant, smart, compassionate young lady who impacted the lives of many at our school, and we are utterly heartbroken by this news. Finally, the school informed her family that the gym bathroom where her body was found would be demolished. Lilie's tragic murder reignited conversations about Australia's persistent struggle with domestic violence. Local media highlighted that Lilie was reportedly the third woman in the area to fall victim to domestic violence that year and the 55th victim in Australia. Australia has had a national plan to end violence against women and children since 2010, but the statistics show the rates of violence remain incredibly high.
Well, joining me live is Mary's House Services CEO Yvette Vignardo. Yvette, thank you so much for joining us. As you well know, these statistics are just not okay and absolutely horrendous, and of course our hearts and condolences to all of those women.
Yes, the statistics seem to be getting worse, not better. We know that every 5 to 7 days in Australia a woman is killed in a domestic and family violence incident, and actually one child per fortnight. I believe more than 11 children have been killed this year.
Then SW Minister for Domestic Violence Prevention, Jodie Harrison, said, "That's really the start of a lack of safety for women and children. It's up to every single one of us. Government can fund programs, but unless individuals take responsibility for themselves, that government funding will be wasted."
I felt physically sick. I think everybody who heard of that murder would have had the same reaction.
Tarang Chawla, a campaigner for gendered violence reform, whose sister was tragically murdered by her partner in 2015, emphasised that Lilie James's death serves as a tragic reminder of the dark, insidious reality of men's violence against women. He added, "I look at the photos of Lilie and I remember my own 23-year-old sister, Nikki, and how I felt after she was murdered. Lilie, I'm sorry we failed you." Dr. Collier, the previous headmaster of St Andrew's Cathedral School, received some backlash after calling Paul an absolute delight and not a monster in a newsletter he wrote titled "Looking in the Face of Savagery." Dr. Collier said the extreme violence was inexplicable, incomprehensible, unimaginable before describing Paul, who he said he knew during his tenure as head of St Andrews between 2010 and 2022, as a fine student, a prefect, a role model. He wrote, "What is chilling about the tragedy which unfolded at St Andrews, the shock and grief of which will cascade for a long time, is that the young man concerned was, in everybody's estimation, an absolute delight. He appeared to be just like the best of us. An hour before he committed the atrocity, he was speaking in a relaxed, friendly mode with staff at that school. He was not a monster. Rather, in the last 5 hours of his life, he committed a monstrous act, which was in complete contradiction to what everyone who knew him observed in the rest of this short life. What led to his mental disintegration? Was it a psychotic episode which was deeply out of character?" Dr. Collier concluded his message saying, "We earnestly desire to build, in conjunction with parents, young men of broad perspective and character, who will be in the deepest sense, beautiful men." After the letter was sent out, many claimed his comments as an excuse for toxic masculinity. Sexual consent advocate Chanel Contos said Dr. Collier's newsletter was symbolic of a much larger problem. She said, "The idea that Paul was a prefect, a role model, a fine student, this does not mean it's an anomaly that he could murder somebody. The whole point is that normal people do these crimes. It's problematic to try and other people who perpetrate violence, because by doing that, we're allowing people who exhibit normal behaviours in other forms of life to go unnoticed without accountability." She said it was especially important for schools to instill good culture and reflect. She said, "The people who are raising the next generation, are they really that resistant to learning?" Shaw School, where Dr. Collier is now the new headmaster, in a statement said they took on board the criticism and that it was never their intention to create any additional distress for those affected by this tragedy. They carried on by saying, "The opinions expressed in this weekly article are deeply personal and reflect the thoughts of a headmaster who knew the alleged perpetrator and who, like many others, is struggling to make sense of the seemingly senseless." In November 2023, Lilie's parents were reportedly seeking legal advice in a bid to sue St Andrew's Cathedral School. They are alleging the almost $40,000 a year school was complicit in gross negligence and breached its duty of care, and question how their daughter was able to be killed on campus, as well as the absence of nighttime security. A close family friend said there is a lot of anger there and a lot of unanswered questions for Lilie's parents. They, like the rest of us, want to know how this was able to happen inside a school of all places. The school had a duty of care to protect Lilie as an employee. As this lawsuit is very recent, I'm not certain about its current status, but I send my best wishes to the James family. Lilie James was a young and beautiful woman with her whole life ahead of her, and this selfish monster, who couldn't take no for an answer, tore her future away from her. My heart goes out to everyone affected by this heinous crime, and as always, rest in peace, Lilie James. Thanks again to MyHeritage for sponsoring this video, and don't forget to start building your family tree and researching your family history with MyHeritage today. Sign up for a 14-day free trial using the link in the description. And an extra special thank you to my members, who you see on screen now, and thank you to those who made it to the very end of this video. See you in the next one.